So let's talk about the responsibilities of a team coach or a Scrum Master. Hi, my name is Chris. I'm a Scrum Master and welcome to my channel Everything Agile, where I try to share my Agile knowledge with all potential Scrum Masters and even practicing Scrum Masters out there so that you can become as successful as you can be in your teams and in your organization as a whole. So in this video, I'll be covering the responsibilities of a team coach or a Scrum Master in a safe environment. So you might ask yourself, why safe environment? Why do we do safe? By the way, safe stands for Scaled Agile Framework. So you might be wondering why it's important to scale a framework such as Scrum, for example, but using SAFe, which is one of the scaling frameworks. So SAFe becomes very important, or scaling frameworks become very important when a problem is so large and so complex that even up to 4 teams cannot come up with a solution to that problem in a very easy manner. So, and it becomes very difficult to even coordinate amongst themselves when it comes to solutioning for that complex problem. So a framework such as SAFe comes into place to coordinate, to help more than 5 teams seek out a solution to that complex problem in an easy way. So SAFe actually has 4 configurations to guide the solutioning of that large complex problem by maybe about 5 to 12 teams. So we have essential SAFe configuration, the large SAFe configuration, the portfolio SAFe configuration, and the full SAFe configuration. We're going to go into details into each of these configurations in another video. This video is focused on the responsibilities of a Scrum Master or a team coach in this environment. So I'm going to speak from my personal experience when I used to work in a SAFe environment. So as a SAFe Scrum Master, I was very responsible for and making sure that my teams are very ready for PI planning. So I always ensure I have a session which I usually call pre-PI planning, especially with my product owner, to make sure that we have stories in our backlog that can span for the next 3 iterations. In my environment, our PI just stands for program increment, which is just the time box that each team in the art have agreed to plan and execute so that we can achieve the objective of that PI, which is producing a solution to the initiative or initiatives that have been decided upon by leadership. So our PIs lasted for 6 weeks in my environment, and it was two weeks iteration. So before the PI starts, I make sure that I have a one-on-one with my PO to make sure we already have an idea on what initiatives we're going to be working on, and we are breaking down those initiatives into epics, and from epics into stories, and populating our product backlog and we use Jira as our tool. So before that, I make sure that happens before going into the PI. Then I also make sure all inter-team dependencies are captured ahead of time before PI planning. It's so important because you don't want to be attending PI planning and for the very first time you are letting other teams in the art, and art just stands for Agile Release Train, you are letting other teams in your art know that, hey, I'm going to be relying upon your team to finish up with this particular user story before we can pick it up and go on with our own work. So I make sure that before PI planning, I'm already reaching out to the Scrum Master or Scrum Masters of those teams that we will be relying on and giving them a heads up that, hey, we're going to be depending on your team to finish this piece of work so that we can pick it up and carry out our own work maybe in the 2nd or 3rd iteration. So I make sure those inter-team dependencies are captured and discussed and those KT sessions are organized, and I make sure that even captured on the tool we use, which is Jira Align. We use Jira Align to capture all our inter-team dependencies, so it's transparent and visible to the entire stakeholders of the art. Then I'll also make sure that I represent my teams during uh, Scrum or Scrums, or Coach Sync, as it is now called in Scrum in Safe 6.0. So I represent my teams during Scrum or Scrums or Coach Sync, where we also discuss all these interdependencies, and we make sure we iron it out between amongst all the teams in that art. So I represent my teams in that meeting. Then I also make sure I facilitate the team breakout sessions during PI planning. During PI planning, because I actually had 3 teams, and I mostly spent most of my time with the teams that were a little bit not as mature as the others in terms of agile. So I make sure I agreed with my PO to facilitate the breakout sessions of one of the other teams. So during that PI breakout session, I'm making sure that we have identified all our stories. We're refining those stories further, and we're also capturing all the risk. We're capturing all the dependencies if we have not captured them yet. Then I'm also making sure that all conversations that have to take place for us to be ready for that PI are actually taking place. If I have to be reaching out to other teams during that breakout session time to iron out any questions we may have, so that our stories are meeting the definition of ready, I am responsible for doing that. Then I also participate in the art demo during the inspect and adapt event, because at the end of the PI, all teams in the art now have to showcase or demo what they have all worked on, and just like in the regular Scrum level sprint demo, now this is the demo of the entire art, where as a system or as an art we see what value, what shippable increment we have, the art has provided. Then we now have a retrospective on what the system on the increment that we have added to the entire system. And then it's also an opportunity for us to come up with what lessons that we have learned, and with any ideas that come out of that demo that can serve as an input into the next PI. So from that feedback that we get from the system demo, we have that retrospective, and then it can serve as user stories or an idea of the features that we're going to implement in the upcoming PI. So in this video, you have actually learned about the responsibilities of a Scrum Master or a team coach in a safe environment. And again, one other responsibility that I forgot to mention was I make sure that we have someone from my teams that is going to do the readouts during PI planning, because PI planning in my environment usually lasted for 2 days. So the second day we do the readouts, and I make sure that an engineer, or sometimes I do it myself, we do the readouts, we call out all our PI objectives and our dependencies and our confidence vote on how confident we are that we're going to achieve those objectives. So that will be it for this video of today. If I missed out on anything, please let me know. Again, this was from my perspective as per my environment. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, so that when I release future videos, you're not going to miss out on any. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Ciao.